To another episode of Chasing Greatness. We'll see where this one ends up, because once again it is 10:15. My son is going through a hard sleep regression at the moment, which always makes for an interesting time span. I spent 2 hours trying to get him to go to sleep properly so that I could leave him in his bed, after my wife spent 2 hours trying to get him to go to sleep and stay in his bed. But nonetheless, that is not really what I wanted to talk about today. What I wanted to talk about, and it was an interesting one, and it has kind of been pondering my mind a little bit. So I thought this would be a good outlet for it. I watched this video on, the old socials that I shouldn't have been on. I should have been doing other stuff. But, as I said, I'm in the process of considering really making a harsh ban on those things and just actually cutting myself off completely, because it's a slippery fucking slope. But that's beside the point. But anyway, it was this guy who does carnivore critiquing this doctor who was like, keto isn't a good life choice because you can't maintain it long term. He's like, why not? Why can't we? Why can't you maintain keto or carnivore or things like this long term? And it was like, because nobody stays on them long term because they end up breaking, they put all the weight back on and all this kind of stuff. And he had a really interesting point, and I thought it is a fascinating one that keeps coming up. And it's the same that I get questioned on, 126 to greatness, chasing greatness, these kinds of things. He was like, it'll come down to where your priorities lie. Because I get people all the time, they're like, what? You can't maintain what you're doing forever. And there's twofold to it. And the first part is, why? Why can't I? Maybe you can't, but why can't I? And the second part is that it is difficult, as evident by the fact that I am, as I've dubbed it recently, the comeback tour, because I did fuck it up. I fell off hard. And it's this interesting one of that we come back to this point of like, why can't we make these changes? Why can't we make priority shifting things, where food, exercise, even like the things we put into our mind through social media, through TV, through dopamine chasing, these kinds of things, why can't we put them aside and do the things that need to be done that are better for us? And it comes down to priorities, for one. But the more I sat with it and the more I thought of it, the reason why we struggle with it is society. Because those choices make you marked as an extremist, obsessed. He's a freak. Like, why would you do that to yourself? Enjoy life. Why is it that acceptable life choices are through enjoyment of things that aren't good for us? Why is that a normalized part? Eating junk food, binging on TV, hating your job, eating junk food, all those kinds of things, social media, doom scrolling, all these things are considered acceptable societal norms. But, being into fitness, eating good food, choosing, invigorating, mind beneficiary, as you can see, my brain is not ticking at its highest level right now, like life choices is considered weird, that you should step back down from pursuing something higher, that pursuing a better life, to, mix it with us normal people. Why is that? And I think that is the crux of the problem, that we as a society demonize good choices. You work too hard, you work too much, enjoy life. What if I enjoy working? I had this discussion today about, retirement, and all the people I was talking to, we had a group full in my gym. They're like, oh God, I just can't wait to retire. Like, it's going to be great. And I'm like, I don't think I'll ever retire. I don't know if what I'm doing at this current point will be the same. I'm only 32. But I like work. I like working hard. I like pushing towards new things. I can't imagine ever being like, thank goodness, now I can sit on my ass and watch TV all day. Like, why have we built into society that this concept of you work your entire life so that you can then go do the things that you want to, which is usually just sitting around doing nothing. Maybe you have some hobbies, like you're like, oh, I'll take up golf or I'll take up painting or things like that. Why not fucking do it now? And it's the same with the health. Like, why is it that I want to only eat nutritious things that fuel my body and that make my body function at its highest level, that leave me looking good, that make me feel good, a bad thing? Why is it that doing exercise that improves my health and fitness, that again makes me feel good, that leaves me in a good place, that allows me to do the things I want to do, a bad thing? Why is it working on something that I enjoy and doing the things that need to be done a bad thing? Why is keeping my word and following through on the things I said a bad thing? Why are we living in a society that all the things that are good for us are basically demonized? And the quick fix, easy way, dopamine chasing, opt out is the acceptable norm. Why is that? And I think that's a deeper question. And look, maybe we can't change the status quo. Maybe we can't change society. Maybe it is all this, thing that they actually want us to be weak and poor and, sedated and mind numbed, so that we don't have the capacity for excellence to fight back, so that we can be more easily controlled. I don't know. But I think we can control our own destiny. We can't control others. And all we can do is focus on ourselves, to lead by example, to lead in greatness, to, excel for it. And what is the Socrates quote? The saddest event of a life is a man never being able to see the true capacity of his physical body. Something to that effect. That we are now in a society where most men have no idea what they're capable of, physically, mentally, emotionally, what they can achieve in any of those areas. And especially in Australia, and I think from what I've seen, UK and places like that, we have tall poppy syndrome. People who succeed, we want to bring them down. We want to tear them down. Oh, why would you want to do that? Be more like us. Or you shame them for that. Or, we have this thing that you shouldn't succeed past a certain point. And that is just mind-boggling. Why do we want to bring others down who succeed? And it's in all the, things. Like, how many of us have deep subconscious programming blocks around being wealthy? Money's the root of all evil. The rich screw the poor. The only way to get rich is to fuck people over. Like, all these kinds of things. And it's so deeply in program that most people don't even realize it. I have this argument with my father all the time. He hates rich people. And he's like, no, I don't. And I'm like, you do. Your actions scream that you hate rich people. And as I've progressed down this path and I'm, pursuing, I want to be wealthy. I want to, because wealth is the way to make a difference. You speak with your money, and the more money you have, the more ability you have to do the things that you think truly make an impact. And the more I pursue it, the constantly having to break down these subconscious barriers to getting rid of money. Because they're built into us as young children, and they're things I'm trying really hard not to pass on to my kids. Because, some of these boxes, if I become wealthy, my parents won't love me. It's not true, but that's something I've believed for my whole life. There's this whole thing, if I get too successful, my family will disown me. They won't love me anymore. That's a hard thing to break. But it is this societal thing that if you are lower or middle class, or even, upper class but not true rich and wealthy, you're like, there's this thing about, rich people fuck people over, rich people are assholes, rich people are dicks. Look, there's certainly people out there, but that's not the majority of them. The same as there's dicks and assholes in middle class and lower class. There's dicks and assholes in every category you want to define people in. It's just a part of life. But we have these things on, I don't know, that we should just enjoy life by pissing it away. Why can't we enjoy life by chasing things that inspire us, doing things that invigorate us, by doing work for the sake of work because we enjoy the work. Like, what is wrong with that? Why are we living in this society that this is the case? I don't know. It's something I ponder, and it's something that the more I get into this, the more I start to question it. That, like, I find myself more and more wanting to, hide away from society because I'm like, I don't want to have to deal with your shit and your judgment. Like, why can't I make choices that don't make sense to you? And it seems like, we've got this weird mix at the moment that the younger generation is completely intoxicated with this idea of, I should just be given all this stuff. Why? You didn't fucking work for it. You didn't earn it. You didn't do anything for it. But they have this level of entitlement that comes with it that they don't want to put in any work. And then on the flip side, you have the older generation of like, well, I'm getting too fucking old. Like, boomers are like, I'm too old to care. I just want to enjoy life, even if those enjoyments diminish my capacity to enjoy other aspects. Why can't we shift? Like, we place such high values on these things, food, alcohol, and it's really hard to participate in society without those. Like, you can't go out with friends without being like, well, let's drink some alcohol, let's eat some food that isn't good for us. Like, why can't we enjoy things? Like, one of my favorite things to do is to work out with my friends. I love that. And we compete against each other and we push each other, and that's fucking awesome. We go play basketball together. That's awesome. Why do we have to live in this society where those things aren't, like, it has to be wrapped around these things? Or even if you did those things but made choices, why can't we just go out for a steak, have good food? Why does it have to be accompanied with things that sedate us, like alcohol and drugs and junk food and stuff? And as I said to you, I love these things, but I'm really starting to question why it is so geared into our society to not only love these things but be addicted to them, that they need to be part of our life, that a life without those things is just sad. Is it? If you're chasing something that excites you, then you wake up every morning feeling fulfilled because you found that passion and drive inside you. Is that sad? Or is needing those things to get through your week, is that sad? But we can't say those things. We're in this part of society where you can't say things to people like that it might offend them. Oh my God, what if we offended someone? When did the pursuit of excellence, of greatness, of achieving your best become something that we should frown upon? That we should celebrate mediocrity, like participation trophies. Oh my God, do they fucking annoy me? I thought getting a runners-up trophy was bad enough, but let alone participation trophies. Everybody gets a fucking trophy. You want to know where the kids won't work? They were given everything. Oh, you showed up. Fucking wonderful. No, fuck off with that shit. I can tell you right now, my kids will not be doing that. They will not be participating in that. They need to learn to win and to want to win, to strive for that. And it's okay to be sad and angry when you lose. There's nothing wrong with that. The biggest lessons come from when you lose. When you showed up and you'd given it your all and you weren't good enough. Learn from that. Don't get angry that you lost. Get angry that you weren't good enough, and then go remedy it. There are lessons to be learnt from losing, and we take that away, and then they get into life and they're like, oh, why don't they want to do anything? Why don't they want to put in effort anymore? Why don't they want to work hard? We've taken away the ability to want to strive and put in effort and work hard for the sake of that. And I think that's a lost art. There is, when you can find joy in the pursuit of it, in the effort, in the grind of that, that's a different level. When you pursue greatness for the sake of pursuing greatness. And look, that might not be six-pack abs and shreddedness. That might not be $1 million, $10 million, $100 million company. It might not be those things. It doesn't need to be. Your own greatness can be whatever it is. Like, one of the things I'm striving to be for my greatness is being a father and being a husband. And I am not there yet. And I'll never be there. But it's something that I want to do better at. And those balances slip and they move up and down, and that's a part of it. But as long as you can have the introspection and recognize it, that's okay too. But I think this concept of that you can only be A, great in one thing, or B, that you shouldn't even bother trying in that, I think that's rubbish. I want to be great at everything I do. Will I be? Fuck no. But it's a never-ending pursuit. And that's the thing that we need to also wrap our head around. I was talking to a friend the other night about it. We were talking about emotional evolution. And as I said, like, I've got these subconscious blocks about money. And some reared their ugly head. And I was like, fuck, thought I dealt with this. But that awareness is part of it. I catch that sooner now, and then I deal with it. And it's never going to end. There is going to be forever work on dealing with the things that are holding us back, because every time you deal with some, new things arrive. It's the same as when we're chasing greatness in other areas. There will be tests, there will be obstacles, and when you overcome them, great, that's fantastic. Fucking winning at life. Guess what? There's going to be new ones, and they're going to be harder than the previous one. Doesn't mean you stop. It doesn't mean you settle for it. It means you just keep pushing. And there will be tests that you fail, and that is a part of life. And that is A-okay. You deal with it. You face them head on. You work on yourself. You learn from that losing, as I just said, then you go again. I actually think this failure from the first time I completed 126 to where I am now is one of the most valuable lessons. I saw what happens when I don't honor this code with myself. I saw what happens when I let that lapse, when I let life get in the way. It's not good. I don't want to go back to that. I needed that harsh wake-up call because I did the fucking work. It wasn't easy. I did the grind. And then I let it all go. And now I have to get back there. And inch by inch, I see my body changing. Inch by inch, I see my, mental side changing. Because, like, as I said, it's late at night and I want to go to bed. And yet, I said I would be here. I said I would do this. And as soon as I sat down, I got G'd up for it. I don't know what it is about this. But this is my muse. This is my calling. This right here, 126 to greatness, chasing greatness. This is what I was fucking meant for. It just, it ignites my soul. And if you don't know what I'm talking about when I'm talking about muse, please go read The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield and pretty much all of his non-fiction books. They are, like, if you are pursuing something of greater value, those are the books that will speak to you. They will open your mind to this. And he talks about it, just getting the work done for the sake of getting the work done. And when you reach that next level, what do? You go straight back into doing the work. He talks about it in terms of writing because he's a writer. But those things apply to everything. And it's this concept of, as I said, work for the sake of work. There's this whole thing that Stephen King sits down every day at 9 a.m. to write. And the old question is he Stephen King because he sits down every day at 9 a.m. to write? Or is it because he's Stephen King? Like, which came first? And my feeling is the reason why he's one of the most successful writers and the most prolific writers in history is because he does that. He has a work ethic around it. All these people, especially creative people, but even like entrepreneurs and fitness people and stuff, they wait for inspiration, they wait for motivation, they wait for that bing moment. Oh, I feel fantastic. It's time to go work out or work on my business. Yay! And that's not the fucking reality. The reality is that you sit down at the same time every day and you block out an allocation of time and you just fucking do it, whether you feel like it or not. And then the inspiration will come. And then the motivation will come. And then when the momentum builds and suddenly you get this snowball behind you and you're like, holy fuck, how did we get here? You got there because you just kept showing up and doing the work. And momentum and momentum and momentum. And now you're steamrolling towards your greatness. At least the current one that you think you're aiming for. And then you build onto that, and you build the momentum onto that, and you just keep going. And this is the part that, as I said, why can't we do this forever? What could happen if you did this, this level of intensity for 5 years, for 10 years, for 15 years, for 20 years? Where could that end up? And I know I talk about a lot of this is the physical aspect, but obviously there's a limit to where that could end up, but you could keep changing the goal. My goal is to be the fittest dad around. Everyone goes, damn, look at Lexi's dad, look at Connor's dad. He's so incredibly fit. I want to stand out from that. That's part of the goal. It's not the whole goal. That's part of it. That, when I have grandkids, I want to do the same things I do now. I want to be able to throw them around. I want to push them on the swings. I want to climb trees with them. I want the ability that until the day I die, I am doing the things I want. I never want to be held back because I didn't put in the work, that I didn't do the things that were required. Because how fucking sad is that? Like, that then becomes not living. And yet I see people who are my age who aren't living. They don't have the capacity to do the things that they want to do. They're out there playing with their kids and they just sit there and watch them and go, oh, it's okay, sweetie, you just do it. I can't. Watched a kid get stuck on some equipment and the parent couldn't get it down because they couldn't get up there. That is a physical failure on your behalf. If you can't save your own child, you have physically failed. And that's a really harsh thing, and I know there are going to be some people who take offense to that, but it's a fucking reality. I had to go save that kid. And that kid was distraught because its parent couldn't get up, didn't have the physical capacity into what was not really a very difficult place to get to. You are letting down your family and your kids and your community and those people who depend on you when you are not in a state to be able to do anything on demand. It is your duty, your honor, and your privilege to be the best that you can be for all of those around you. So, I'll leave you on a nice controversial statement for you to ponder until I come back tomorrow with some more of that. So until then, enjoy.